Hello friend, welcome back. In a previous video, I already discussed about that things with you here. I assigned one of the button as a comments button, and also I migrated one of the database table, and also I create one of the route for this one as a comment. And into this position, I want to actually now create one of the page in our comment area. I created one of the pages as a display. So all the things I copy from our post table. So here I paste it. So now it's look like this. So now I want to actually customize it as per our demand for the comment. Okay, so here like that is actually all that field name. So first of all, that is actually the create button. So right now we don't need that create button, so I just remove that create button from here, and then all that field. So now for the comment I need the name field. So here I just define that name, and also I define that post. Okay, that means that which post comments is actually that. So we have to actually get that post from our post table. So I will do that things later. And also I want to define the comment. Okay, so there have also another option for the comment, and then I also want to display that status. So with this status, I want to make that sure. I want to actually put that privilegization that comments will be the published or not. So for the reasons, they have also one of the another field as status. So right now we don't need this. I just remove two of this from here. Okay, so here, so then after that status, then the options. So for now we have to actually display all the things like that is TD for the image showing. So right now we don't need that TD. So first of all, that is actually the number, and after that there is a name. So in our this row, I just want to define that name on here. So I just define our field name. So if you go to the database, so that is the field name is the name. Okay, so for now I just define that name on here. So after the row, I want to display that name on particular that position. And also there is a post for if you want to display that post. Okay, so here one things you have to remember, like I already discussed about this type of work, like there is actually the post ID. Okay, so that is actually the foreign key. If you go to that our another table, like I show you, if you go to that post, and they have also one of the field as a ID. So this ID will be equal with our this post ID. When this will be the equal, then he will get all the data from our that position from our this post table, and it will be visible with this title. Okay, so before I did that work for the showing that name for the another table. Okay, for now I want to do that work. I hope you can well understand about it, what exactly the things I want to do. For doing this, first of all, here we have to work in our model, like I already created one of the model. And here if you go to that app, okay, that means the HTTP, and here I created one of the model for this comment. So like that is the model. So into this model, I just want to create one of the method, like here I just define as a public, and then I just define that function. And now here I want to create one of the method as a post method. So into the post method, I just defining on here. So first of all, here I want to actually return, and return I with this. So here I just define that this, and with this I just define that belong to. Okay, so here I just define that belong to, and into the belongs to, it should be redirected to our which page. So it should be get all the data from our post table. So for the reasons I just define that app, and then slash our post, that means the post model. And into the post model, here I define one thing. It's like if you go to that position, so this field, that means this post ID field will be matched with our this database table, that is a this field, that means the ID. Okay, so here I want to do that work. So for now I just define that post ID will be matched with our another field, that is database field with this ID. So here I just define that ID. So this ID means if you go to that position, so it should means that this ID. Okay, and post ID means in our this comments table there is a field as a post ID field. So here I just make the things on here, and now here I want to display the title. So if you now go to that position, and here you can say before I did that work for the creator and showing that name. So now I want to do with this one as the post. So I just define the post, and here I just define that our field name. So I here and that is a post, and here I just define that title. Okay, so here I just define the title. I hope you can well understand about it. And also here I want to display our comments. So here there is a option for the comment field. So I just copy that comment field name, and here I just define that row and the comments. So after that comments, they have also another status. So for the status here, you can see I just defined that method as a put method, and here I also define one of the URL. So this URL will be the back, and then I just define that as a comment. Okay, the comment status, and then with this ID and style just display online, that is the status equal 1, and then it should be as a unpublished or the published, and then the close. And after that there is the options. So for the options, right now we don't need this. Okay, so I just remove that TD from here. We also don't need to show that delete button, so I just remove that delete button. There is a edit button, I just remove that edit. Okay, so right now I don't show any permission for this one. And into this position I want to add another option for this replay. Okay, I just define that replay, and this replay here you have to define that back and the comment, and after that comment I want to create another page for this one as a replay. Okay, I just define that replay, and it should be also replay with this ID. So here I just define that ID. So now we have to work in our comment controller. So if you go to that comment controller here, that is our admin, and that is our comments. So that is our comment controller. So now we have to do in our comment controller, and into the comment controller, as I told you, I just want to get all the data from here, like we match with this ID from this post ID, and he get all the data with the title. Okay, so now we have to actually set that things in our controller area, that means here. And into this position I already created one of the route for this one, so that is our comments controller index method. So first of all I want to load that page, so that the page I just created as a list blade. Okay, so step by step I will show you. So first of all here I have to create one of the methods. So I just define as a public, and then function. Okay, function I just define as the index method, and into the index method it should be also with the getting that ID. So here I just define that ID, and after that here first of all I just take one of the variable as a page name. So I just define as a page underscore name, and page name will be just our comments. Okay, so here I just define one of the comments page name, and then I want to actually return and return view. So here I just define that view page. So here I just have to define our view page URL. So this is the view page will be in our, I already created that folder. So that is our admin and the comment and the list. Okay, so I just define that admin and the comment, and then our page name as a list page. And also I have to compact it. So here I just define that compact, and into this position I have to compact this page name. So here I just define that page name. Okay, so now here first of all I want to load that page. Okay, that means this list page. Now we have to work in our model. I define one of the belongs to with this post ID will be the ID. Okay, so now actually I want to match two of this database field and get the title, because if you go to that list page here you can see I just define that post and the title. So now we have to actually make the things in our this controller area. So here, so for now first of all I just take one of the variable as data, and into the data here first of all I just want to add our comment model. So here I just define that comment. Okay, I just define our comment model, and with this comment model I just define with database field name. So I just define the database field as a post. Okay, so that will be our post table, and then here I just define that where. Okay, I just put the condition. So into this position first of all here I just define, so that is our table, that is the post table, and here our this post ID will be equal to our ID. So here I just define that post ID with this ID. So here I just define that ID, so I just defining it on particular tab position. And also I want to get all the data by the order. Okay, so here I also want to set one of the order by. So here I just define order and then by. And order by I want to get all the data with the ID, and also I want to define that things with the descending order. So I just define the DESC, and after that I want to get all the data. So here I just define the get get all. Okay, so that's all you have to do. So now also we have to actually pass this data. So here I just defining it, I just compiling it. Okay, complex that data. So I just define that complex data. So now here I already define all the things on particular that position, and here you can see I just define that comment model. So we have to use our comment model on here. So I just define that use, and our comment model I just define at the app, and then I just define that comment. Okay, I just defined that our comment model on particular that position. So now here I have loaded that list page, but in our list page there have no data, right? So now I have to define that I have to insert some of the data like that is actually the 3 ID. Okay, and for the 3 ID, that means this actually post 3 ID. So here with this ID I just want to define some of the comments. So if you go to that table, and here I want to insert some of the data for this comment, and first of all there is a name. So here I just define that name as a Kazi. That means the Kazi will actually define some of the text like as a hello, this is good. Okay, so this type of one of the comments, and now also here you have to define that post ID. So right now I want to define that comments with for this post ID. So for now that is post ID actually the 3. So here I just defining as a post ID 3, and for the status I just define that things as a 0, and for the time right now I just define that our today. Okay, so here I just define that today time, and also I want to define the another one. So another one I just define as a Ariyan, and here I just define that hello, this is the post comment. Okay, I just define the post comment, and that is the ID. So I also want to take that same ID, that means this post 3 ID. So here I just defining post ID will be the 3, and status I just define that things as a 0, and created date I just define as a 23, and also I just define as a 23. Okay, so for now I just click on the go, and here if you go to the browse, so here with this post ID 3 I just added 2 of these comments. Okay, now let's check this out. I just click on here, I just click on the save all, and now if you refresh that page, like here I just refresh it. So here I just defined that post ID 3, like here for the post ID 3 I just added 2 of these comments. Okay, so now that is actually, if you go to this position, now you can see that is actually the 3 ID. So now if you go to that 3 ID, so now I want to actually show all that our these comments. So now if you click on the comments, so now here it's showing as a call undefined relationship post on model. So if you go to that our app model, so maybe there have something I did wrong. So here, so there is a post, and here is defined the app post ID that belongs to. So you can see there is a spelling mistake. It should be as it belongs to. Okay, belongs to, and then this one. So now let's check this out. I just click on the save all, and now if you refresh that page, yes, you can see now all that comments is now visible on particular that position. So that's all the 3. That means the 3 post IDs, all that comments is now visible. I hope you can well understand about it. So if you go to that post, and in particular that position, so that is actually the comments. Okay, so now if you click on here, now it's redirected to you the comments with the ID, and also all that ID related comments is now visible on here. And into the comments area I just defining the name will be visible, the post name is now visible. So here you can see now it's actually comes from our another database table, that post table. So if you go to that post table, see this title is now visible on particular that position. For the reasons I just define that model. So here he make the things with this post ID with the ID. Okay, he will be match and display that title on particular that position, and also the comments is now visible. And here they have the 2 status, one is the publish and one of the another status for the replay. So if you want to replay that comment, then how can do that work? In our next video I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.